Hello. Hi guys. um Sorry for my tardiness. The time got away from me and I can't even blame it on technical difficulties at the moment, but time just got away from me. So I'm so sorry about that. And let's get started with today's and this week's Tuesday tip at 2. All right. So today I will be talking about the closing process. So I'm going to start part one of talking about the closing process. So it'll just be this 2-episode series talking about the closing process for buyers, what that looks like. And so we're going to comb through half of it because it's a lot to get through. As it is stated below, remember that you can schedule a free consultation with me at bit.ly/DJM consult. bit.ly/DJM consult. Okay? So be sure to do that. Listen, a lot of people ask me what is the market looking like. Some people, some buyers and stuff are hesitant to really really pull the trigger in pursuing home ownership, but let me tell you, rates are at a historic level. So if you're trying to see the temperature of when it's time to buy, trust in the temperature is hot to buy, even though it is a seller's market, which I've been talking about weekly every time and on my social media, how it's a seller's market. But even in spite of that, which seller's market again means that there are more buyers than there is inventory, right? So inventory would be houses that are on the market. But please don't get discouraged by that. Last week, I talked about how to attack this seller's market, right? So if you want to take a look at that and figure out a strategy as to how to pursue buying a home, check out my YouTube and my playlist Tuesday tip. But anyway, I want to get into this, okay? So, closing costs. Now, not closing costs, I'm sorry. Closing process. So, this is pretty much the process that happens after your offer has been accepted, right? So, I've talked about getting pre-approved. I haven't talked about putting in a contract yet. So, after the series, I'll probably go into that in more detail. But this is the process after you're under contract for, okay, and you're like, yay, I'm about to get the keys. And so what do you do after that? Well, the first thing you do after, sign the contract, all systems are go, your closing is in 30 days or 45 days, the first thing you need to do is to turn over your earnest money deposit. That's typically a cashier's check or a money order that's made out to the listing company. Most listing companies will hold escrow, right? And that's really just a real estate brokerage. They'll typically will hold the earnest money deposit in escrow. Okay. And you have to turn in that earnest money deposit 5 days after the signed contract, which is the contract is the agreement of sale, okay, which is like what you need. The number one thing you need when you're submitting an offer for property. Okay, so you have to turn in that EMD or earnest money deposit 5 days after you sign the contract. What's number two? Number two is you have to schedule your inspection. Now, if I'm your realtor, which of course I am, but if I'm your realtor, I'm going to give you typically 3 or 4 suggestions that I like to send out. You want to schedule it as soon as possible. You have 10 days to get an inspection completed after you have signed, again, the agreement to sell or AOS or standard agreement to sell as a realtor. Okay? So after you have signed that document, it's 10 days thereafter that you have time to get an inspector in there to inspect the property. What types of inspections are you getting done now on the agreement to sell? There are several types of inspections, but we're going to just go through the popular ones so that you know which ones you have to put kind of as priority, right? So you have the general home inspection. The general home inspection, which is, and I'm going to break down these average costs, right? So your general home inspection is certainly going to cover the whole house from top to bottom, literally the roof down to the basement, excuse me. Had a little hiccup there. Down to the basement. And it's going to cover your electricity, at least as far as they can tell, making sure you have the proper outlets. They're going to look at the electric panel. Check out the basement. They spend most of that time in the basement, right? Most of that time is in the basement, checking out the foundation, checking for mold, all those different things, right? You're getting your plumbing checked out in the kitchen, in the basement, in the bathrooms, so on and so on. Okay? Typically, the average cost for just a home inspection could be anywhere from $300 to $500. Okay, just a home inspection, which is the big, right? You definitely want to get that done. You have what you would call a radon inspection. Radon is the gas that emits from the earth. It's always around us, but typically it's found in basements because it's coming from the earth and all that other stuff. Don't have me go into the science lesson, but it's something that can be hazardous if we are exposed to too much of it, right? So that gets checked. That's typically in the basement. Usually that cost is like around $70 to add on that inspection to your general home inspection. Then you have the termite. Of course, termites are little critters that like to eat wood. They like to live in wood, right? That's not good for a home. So you definitely want to get that checked out. And then another inspection I want to go over is the sewage inspection, right? It's becoming a more popular inspection to get done in Philadelphia, particularly. Some counties, such as Delaware County, will require the sellers to do the sewage inspection when they go to put their house on the market, right? But in Philadelphia, I don't know if you drive around Philadelphia too much, but there are a lot of pipes being replaced. Huge pipes and lines. Some of them are sewage, some of them are gas, right, that are being replaced. Streets are being dug up and everything like that. So, being as though, of course, Philadelphia is an old city, and a lot of those pipes are just now getting replaced, you might want to get a sewage inspection just to make sure that that main line is intact, right? Make sure there's no tree branches or roots that are growing into it. Making sure that it's not cracks or holes inside of it. So you want to make sure it's certainly intact, right? So a sewage inspection costs anywhere between $200 to $300. So that's another one to consider depending on where you are purchasing your house. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay? So I want to move on. So all around, I would say inspections, depending on which ones you get, will cost you anywhere between $500 to $700. Okay, so you want to, when you're saving money, consider that. The next thing is okay, so appraisal. So appraisals and inspections are two different things, and the mortgage company orders the appraisal. Why does it? Appraisal needs to get done, right? Appraisal needs to get done because you need to know the value, the worth of the home, not just the market value, but appraisal is like the expert and legit value of the home, right? I can do a market analysis for you, compare the market analysis, and let you know based on what the market is doing, this would be the price point that you want to sell it at. Appraisals come in and say this is the actual price point of what it's worth. Typically, they're lining up. Okay, so typically, it's very, very close appraisals and comparative market values. Okay, so an appraiser comes out. The mortgage company orders that for you. It's typically around $600. Okay, it's something that it's an upfront cost that you have to pay. And they come out and let you know, hey, this house, we are able to give you $100,000 because this house is worth $100,000, right? So if you went under contract for $100,000, then you're good to go. If you went under contract and it's worth maybe $105,000, that mortgage company can have, well, if it's worth 95, should I say? Wait, am I saying it right? Let me make sure I'm saying this right. So, okay, so if you put in an offer for 100,000 and maybe it's worth only 95,000, that mortgage company has the option to say, we're only giving you the 95,000. We're only going to give you a mortgage of 95,000 because the house is not worth the 100,000. Okay, that's just an example. There are some other nuances in regards to that, but I'm not going to go over it right now. But if you want to learn about it, go to bit.ly/DJM console to hear more about details regarding that. And so, yes, approval, when appraisal comes through and it's a thumbs up, it falls in line to what you offer for it, it's no problems, then that's fantastic. Okay. Now, after you get the, we're going back to inspection. After you get the inspection done, you have 5 days, okay, to negotiate the inspections, right? So what you're going to fill out between you and I, because you're my client, you're going to fill out the buyer's reply to the inspection. And so that's pretty much stating, okay, from the inspection report, the different things that you might want repaired in regards to the property, okay? Or you might just want a credit. Like, hey, there's about $5,000 worth of things that need to get done in this house. I'll just take a $5,000 credit and I'll just do it myself. Or it'll be, hey, I need you to do this list of repairs. Typically, you want to stick to the things that are of higher priority, as well as, costly, right? Higher priority, and maybe the big ticket. So like the roof, if the roof was leaking, or even if it just needs to be sealed. You may want to put that on the list because, that's a higher priority item. And that's different from, something like, a door handle needs to be replaced, right? Which is something easy that you could do. Okay, so that's the time period where, we'll send off what's called an addendum. So after we fill out between you and I, the buyer's reply to inspection, you say what you want, either credited or repaired. I'm going to send an addendum to the selling agent and let them know and inform them, attached with the inspection reports, that, hey, these problems need to get addressed. And then, it could be that the seller and the sellers agree to everything. It could be that, hey, we'll do this, this, and this, but we'll give you a credit for the rest. It could be that they're like, no, I'm not doing anything. So that's what negotiations are for, and that's typically 5 days. 5 days. So that's it. I'm gonna stop right there. That is pretty much it. I do want to hold this up here, and so this is pretty much showing just the whole process, the moving parts to closing. Okay, it says what me as a real estate agent is doing in the one column. Look here. Or look over here. Is it here? Yeah. If I look over here, this is letting you know all the moving parts to closing. Okay. But so me as a realtor, what the moving parts for me, I'm pretty much the in-between person, right? So I'm making sure I'm contacting the mortgage company, the title company. If you are using a grant, I'm working with your grant counselor to make sure those funds are available for closing day. And we're going to go into all the moving parts of the mortgage company and the title agency next week. That's going to come into play next week. So we're going to talk about next week. After you turned in your earnest money deposit, did the inspection, went through the appraisal, did your negotiations, did all that stuff, what is next? All right, guys. It is me. I don't even know if I introduced myself at the top of this, but it is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, I'm a Queen of Real Estate. And thank you so much for joining me on this week's and today's Tuesday tip at 2. Guess what? If you have any more questions, you can certainly comment or DM me. Or you can go ahead to bit.ly/DJM consult and we can set up a time to chat about your real estate aspirations. Thank you so much again, and I will talk to you soon. Remember, there is no place like home, no place like home buying. I will talk to you soon. Have a lovely day, and bye-bye.